Today I am going to discuss about unified process model. Okay, so first we will see the definition. So what is unified process model? Okay, unified process model is an architecture centric, use case driven, iterative and incremental approach to software development. Okay, so what is unified process model? It is an architecture centric, use case driven, iterative and incremental approach to software development. Okay, so now let's discuss what is architecture centric. Okay, what is architecture centric? When we are going to develop any software product, first of all, we need to draw its architecture. On the basis of that architecture, the rest of the process will work. The working of a unified process model is completely based on the architecture. Okay, that is why it is called as architecture-centric process model. The working of unified process model is completely based on architecture. That is why it is called as architecture-centric. The next one is use case driven. So what is use case driven? A use case defines the interaction between two or more entities. Okay, it describes the customer and the system. Okay, that is interaction between customer and the system, resulting in a specific output or a measurable return. So what is use case driven? A use case defines the interaction between two or more entities. So after interaction, we will get an output or a measurable return. That is what use case driven. Okay, then next one is iterative and incremental. What is iterative? Iterative means repetition. Okay, whenever the phases and activities are there, we are going to, as per the customer review, we again apply the iterative nature over here. If the customer is not satisfied, again the process will do. This is what iterative. That is, process will repeat. Okay, and increment means we are going to do some increment or some evaluation into the earlier software. Incremental model we already discussed. Okay, so increment means some evaluation on the earlier process or earlier software. Okay, so that is what iterative and incremental. So what is unified process model? It is an architecture centric, use case driven, iterative and incremental approach to software development. Okay, this is what unified process model. Next, we will discuss about different phases of unified process model. Okay. So, in the previous lecture, we discussed about what is software lifecycle model. What is software lifecycle? That is the life cycle of a software. There we discussed different stages or stages of life cycle of a software. Okay, so there we see conceptualize, specify, design, code, test, deliver, maintenance. These are the stages of a software life cycle, software life cycle. Okay, so these phases, these are the different phases. So these phases can be represented in another way. That is, we can represent these phases like this. That is communication, planning, modeling, construction and deployment. Okay, communication, planning, modeling, construction and deployment. So what is communication? It is just the communication between developer and the user to know what the user exactly wants. Okay, so what is communication? To know what the user exactly wants. That is communication between the developer and the user. Mainly requirement gathering and project initiation are under this phase. Okay, that is requirement gathering, and project initiation. Okay, mainly requirement gathering and project initiation. These are under this communication. The next one is planning. What is planning? In the planning, we are trying to build the documentation. That is planning about the complete project. Mainly estimating, scheduling, tracking are done here. Okay, so estimating, scheduling, tracking. Okay, so next phase is modeling. What is modeling? After planning, they will make the model. That is diagrammatic representation. Mainly analysis and design. Analysis and design. Okay, so next come to the construction phase. After modeling, what they will do? They try to construct the product by writing the code and test the product. After writing the code, they will test the code. So in the construction phase, mainly coding and testing. Coding and testing. So next come to the deployment phase. Okay, so what is deployment phase? Finally, they develop the product. So delivery, support, feedback will come under this phase. Okay, so delivery, support, feedback, everything will come under this phase. Okay, so communication mainly requirement gathering and project initiation, and planning phase estimation, scheduling, tracking. After planning, they will model, that is the analysis and design. Then after getting the design, we will construct, that is coding. After coding, we will test the phase. In the same phase, construction phase, we will test the code. Okay, then delivery, that is product is ready. Then delivery, after that maintenance, feedback, support, everything comes under this deployment phase. Okay, so there are 5 generic stages. Okay, or the 5 generic framework activities, and this can be used to describe any software process models. Okay, so these 5 stages, that is communication, planning, modeling, construction and deployment. These 5 generic framework activities can be used to describe any software process model. Okay. So in the unified process model, all these phases, that is this five stage framework activities, will be combined into different phases called unified process phases. That is, these phases will combine to form different phases that are called unified process phase. Okay. That is, we have inception phase, elaboration phase, construction phase, transition phase, production phase. That is, communication and planning combined to form inception phase. Okay, planning and modeling combined to form elaboration. Then construction. Then construction and deployment phase combined to form transition. Then after releasing the software, then production phase will come. Okay, so in the unified process, we have 5 stages. That is inception, elaboration, construction, transition and production. Okay, so these are the phases of unified process model. Okay. Now we will discuss what are all the phases. What is inception, what is elaboration, what is construction, what is transition and production in detail. Okay, so what is happening in inception phase? Inception, it is a combination of what? Communication and planning. So what are the main roles of inception phase? Here in the inception phase, vision document. Okay, that is vision document is preparing here. Okay, so vision document. And initial use case model, initial business case model, project plan, everything comes under this phase. That is vision document, initial use case, then initial business case, project plan. Okay, everything comes under this inception phase. Then what is elaboration phase? It contains the features of planning and modeling. Okay, it is mainly focuses on implementing use case model. That is main use cases. Okay. Here we are using initial use cases only. Here main use case models. Okay, mainly focuses on implementing use case model, analysis model, software architecture description, and some project plans like iterative plans, workflows. Okay, these are comes under this phase. Okay, so use case model, analysis model, software architecture description, then some project plans. Okay, everything comes under this phase. Next come to the construction. Construction phase is the unified process. Construction phase in unified process is identical to the construction activity defined for the generic software process. That is mainly in construction we are going to do in coding and testing. Okay. So next is transition phase. It is a combination of both construction and deployment. Here the software is given to the end user. Then the user feedback report both defect and necessary changes. Okay, the user feedback reports both defect and necessary changes. In addition, the software team create the necessary supporting information. Okay, like user manuals, troubleshooting guide or installation procedure. Okay, that will done here. That is the required. At the conclusion of the transition phase, the software increment become a usable software release. Okay, so here the product is given to the end user. That is, the software is given to the end user. The user feedback report both defect and necessary changes. In addition, the software team create the necessary support information. So we are giving support information. Okay, that is required for the software or the release. At the conclusion of the transition phase, the software increment become a usable software release. Okay. Then next is production phase. During this phase, the ongoing use of the software is monitored. Support for the operating environment. Environment means we can say infrastructure. Okay. That is provided, and defect reports and requests for changes are submitted and evaluated in this phase. Okay, mainly we can conclude like this. These are the main activities in each phases. Okay, so inception, vision document, initial use case, initial business case model, project plan, or if we can develop one or more prototype itself here. Okay, then in the elaboration phase, use case model, analysis model, software architecture description, and some project plans like iteration workflows, milestones also we can say. Okay, then construction, design model, test plans, and procedures. Then in transition phase, deliver the software increment and general user feedback also collect. Phase, support the operating environment, and we can produce a defect report. Okay, so this is what unified process model. We have 5 phases: inception, elaboration, construction, transition, and production. Okay, thank you.